Imagine the lights flicker, the hum of your refrigerator cuts out, and for the first time in your life, you realize the just-in-time supply chain isn't just a business term. It's the only thing keeping your local grocery store from looking like an empty warehouse. Most people think that when the grid goes sideways or a storm rolls in, they need a $5,000 bunker and a year's supply of freeze-dried astronaut food. But here is the cold, hard truth. The people who survive the first 72 hours aren't the ones with the fancy tactical gear. They're the ones who realize that the most critical survival items are sitting right now, completely overlooked, on a shelf at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. I've spent the last 15 years tracking supply chain vulnerabilities and analyzing how retail stock moves during localized disasters. I've seen shelves go from fully stocked to bone dry in less than 4 hours. And every single time, it's the same 14 items that disappear first. If you're waiting for the news to tell you it's time to prepare, you're already too late. You're just another person in a panicked crowd fighting over the last bag of flour. But if you know what to look for now, you can build a life-saving kit on a literal shoestring budget. Stick with me, because what I'm about to show you isn't about hoarding. It's about tactical acquisition. I'm going to break down the first few items that will vanish from Dollar Tree the second things get real. And trust me, the last one we cover today is something 99% of preppers forget until they actually need it. Let's start with the invisible gold, over-the-counter medication. Specifically, acetaminophen and ibuprofen. Now, you might be asking, why buy these at a dollar store? Listen, in a high-stress survival situation, a simple tension headache or a low-grade fever isn't just an annoyance, it's a liability. Clouds your judgment. Slows your physical response. When a run on the stores happens, people flock to the pharmacy section of big box retailers first. They clear out the name brands. But while they're fighting over a $15 bottle of Advil, the smart money is at Dollar Tree grabbing the Assured brand. It's the same active ingredients. The kicker? These small bottles are actually better for a survival kit because they're compact. You can stash them in a glove box, a bug-out bag, or a pocket without the bulk. But here's the secret. These are usually the first medical items to hit an expiration bottleneck. Because Dollar Tree moves through stock so fast, their meds are often fresher than what's been sitting in the back of a pharmacy warehouse. Once the trucks stop rolling, these bottles become a bartering currency more valuable than silver. Think about it. Would you trade a can of beans for a way to stop a pounding migraine? Every single time. Fire is life. That sounds like a cliché from a reality TV show until you're sitting in a house with no heat and no way to cook the rice you've stored. Here's the mistake most people make. They buy one of those fancy, everlasting plasma lighters or a massive box of 500 matches that they keep in a kitchen drawer. In a survival scenario, you need redundancy. You need fire in your kitchen, fire in your bag, and fire in your pocket. Dollar Tree sells multi-packs of lighters in those small, portable boxes of matches. Why are these the first to sell out? Because they're an impulse buy. People who aren't even preppers grab them for candles or grills the moment the power dips. But it gets worse. Matches are extremely sensitive to humidity. If you buy the cheap ones and don't store them correctly, they're useless. I always tell people to grab the multi-packs and immediately vacuum seal them, or drop them into a pill bottle. If you see the shelves getting thin on these, it's a sign that the local collective anxiety is rising. Grab them while they're $1.25, because in a week, you won't find them for any price. If you walk into the candle aisle and skip the scented Cupcake Delight jars, you'll see the tall, glass-encased white candles, often called prayer candles. These are the unsung heroes of budget prepping. Standard emergency candles are thin, they tip over, and they burn out in a few hours. These glass-encased candles are designed to burn for up to 80 hours straight. They are self-contained, meaning you don't need a candle holder, and the glass provides a level of wind protection and fire safety that an open flame just doesn't have. Now, you might think, I have a flashlight, I'm good. Stick with me here. Batteries die. LEDs break. A candle provides consistent, low-level light that saves your battery power for tasks that actually require high visibility. More importantly, in a cold weather power outage, a single one of these candles can slightly raise the temperature in a small, insulated space like a tent or a closet. It's not a furnace, but it's a psychological and physical win. These sell out the moment a storm is forecasted. If you aren't seeing 10 of these in your pantry right now, you're behind the curve. This is where factual accuracy is going to save your life. Most people have a bottle of bleach under their sink that's been there for years. Here's the reality. Bleach has a shelf life of about 6 months to a year before it starts losing its potency. After that, it's basically just salty water. In a survival situation, bleach is your primary defense against waterborne illness and infection. You need it to sanitize surfaces and, in extreme cases, to make water potable using very specific, measured drops. Because Dollar Tree sells smaller, 64-ounce or even 32-ounce bottles, it allows you to rotate your stock much more effectively than those massive 3-gallon jugs from the warehouse clubs. When a water main breaks or a boil water notice goes out, the bleach aisle at the grocery store becomes a battleground. But nobody thinks to check the cleaning aisle at the Dollar Tree until it's far too late. Grab 2 bottles every time you go. Use the old one for your laundry, and keep the fresh one in your kit. It's a $1.25 insurance policy against dysentery. I know that sounds grim, but I've seen what happens when people ignore water safety, and it isn't pretty. Your hands are your most important survival tool. If you get a deep lace or a puncture wound in a world where urgent care is closed, you are in serious trouble. People think survival and they think fighting. The reality? Survival is 90% cleaning up debris, moving heavy wood, or fixing broken windows. Dollar Tree often carries coated string knit gloves, or even basic leather palm work gloves. Are they professional grade, that will last you a decade of construction work? No. But for $1.25, you can buy 5 pairs. In an emergency, gloves get wet, they get torn, or they get lost. Having a buffer of multiple pairs means you can give a pair to a neighbor or a family member who didn't prepare. Once the hardware stores are picked clean of the $20 brand name gloves, people will descend on the dollar stores to protect their hands. If you're not already holding a few pairs, you'll be the one trying to move jagged glass with your bare skin. I know this sounds like a lot to process, but we are just scratching the surface. We've covered the immediate essentials, the things that keep you healthy, lit, and protected in the first 24 hours. But as the days turn into weeks, the needs change. The items that sell out next aren't about survival, they're about sustainability. I'm talking about the items in the food and hardware aisles that most people walk right past because they don't look like emergency gear. I'm going to show you why a specific $1.25 kitchen tool and a useless piece of hardware are actually the keys to long-term survival. If you think you're prepared because you have 50 cans of beans in your pantry, you're missing the most dangerous variable in the entire survival equation. Imagine it's day 4. The adrenaline has worn off. You're tired, you're hungry, and you finally decide to crack into that food storage, only to realize your electric can opener is a paperweight and your fancy multi-tool just snapped its cheap Chinese steel blade. This is where the survival gap happens. It's the space between having supplies and actually being able to use them. Most people stock up on the what, but completely forget the how. In my years analyzing disaster response, I've seen families sitting on a mountain of food they couldn't eat and gear they couldn't repair because they missed the basic, tactile tools that keep a household running when the grid stops doing the work for you. Dollar Tree isn't just a place for cheap snacks. It's a hardware store for the apocalypse if you know which aisles to haunt. But you have to move fast, because while the preparedness community is arguing over $300 knives online, the locals are going to clear these 5 items off the shelves the moment the first cell tower goes down. Here's a reality check that hurts. An electric can opener is a luxury of a stable civilization. When the power is out for a week, that expensive appliance on your counter is useless. Now, you might be thinking you'll just use a knife or a screwdriver. Trust me, I've seen the ER stats from people trying to cowboy open a can of peaches in the dark. It ends in stitches every single time, and in a survival scenario, a deep hand wound is a death sentence for your productivity. Dollar Tree carries basic, geared manual can openers. Are they the buy-it-for-life variety? Maybe not. But for $1.25, they are the single most important mechanical advantage in your kitchen. But it gets worse. These are small. They get lost. They get rusted. The secret is redundancy. I keep one in the kitchen, one in the go bag, and one in the toolbox. When the grocery stores run out of bread and milk, people start looking at the canned goods. Then they realize they can't open them. That's when the run on manual openers starts. If you're not holding 3 of these right now, you're betting your survival on a piece of plastic and a prayer. Most people instinctively grab the biggest bags of rice and flour they can find. That's level 1 prepping. Level 2 is realizing that your body cannot function on carbs alone, especially under the physical stress of a disaster. You need protein to keep your muscles firing and your brain sharp. Dollar Tree has an incredible selection of canned tuna, pink salmon, and even canned chicken. But here is the pro tip. Look for the foil pouches. Why pouches? No water to drain. No can opener needed. 0 weight. In a situation where you might have to leave your home quickly, a few 2.5-ounce pouches of lemon pepper tuna are worth their weight in gold. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'll just hunt or fish. Statistics show that 95% of people who plan to hunt for food in a crisis end up hungry. The woods get crowded fast. These pouches provide immediate, no-cook energy. When you see people loading their carts with 20-pound bags of rice, walk past them and clear out the tuna pouches. You'll be the one with the energy to actually carry that rice home. Fire is life, then repair is longevity. In a survival situation, something will break. A window will shatter, a tent will rip, or a pipe will leak. You aren't calling a contractor. You are the contractor. Now, I'll be honest with you. Dollar Tree duct tape isn't the gorilla strength stuff you'd use to build a bridge. But it is perfect for 90% of emergency patches. More importantly, the rolls are smaller. In a bug-out bag, space is your most valuable commodity. A massive industrial roll of tape is a nightmare to carry. 3 small rolls from the Dollar Tree? You can distribute those among your family. And don't even get me started on zip ties. They are the silent multi-tool. From securing a perimeter fence to makeshift gear repairs or even keeping a splint in place, zip ties are essential. These sell out first because they aren't just for preppers, they're for everyone. The guy trying to tape up his storm-damaged car is going to be fighting you for that last roll. Get yours yesterday. This is the value hack that always blows people's minds. Forget the expensive tactical flashlights for a second. Think about the ambient light you need to just move around your house at night without tripping over the dog or a piece of furniture. During a long-term blackout, using your high-lumen flashlight for night light duty is a waste of expensive batteries. Instead, go to the Dollar Tree garden section and grab 5 or 6 of those stake-mounted solar lights. Here's the trick. Leave them outside in the sun during the day, and when the sun goes down, bring them inside and stick them in a mason jar or a vase. They provide a soft, consistent glow that lasts for hours. They are infinitely rechargeable, and most importantly, they are safe. No fire risk like candles, and no light signature that tells the whole neighborhood you have a generator running. The moment the weather report looks grim, these disappear from the garden section. People realize they're the cheapest emergency lighting on the market. If you don't have a harvest of solar lights in your garage, you're going to be sitting in the dark. I know this sounds like a luxury, but stick with me. This is about biology and morale. Salt is the only rock that humans literally need to eat to stay alive. It's essential for electrolyte balance, especially if you're sweating and working harder than usual. But beyond that, salt is the ultimate preservative. If you do manage to find meat or produce, salt is how you keep it from rotting. Then there's the morale factor. Have you ever tried to eat plain white rice for 3 days straight? It's soul-crushing. Appetite fatigue is a real thing in survival situations, and it can lead to people simply not eating enough to stay strong. Dollar Tree has those multi-packs of spices, garlic powder, cinnamon, crushed red pepper. These are tiny, they're light, and they change the entire psychological state of a meal. When the world feels like it's falling apart, a hot bowl of seasoned rice feels like a luxury. These are the items people forget until their food tastes like cardboard. Don't be that person. We've moved from immediate survival to keeping your household running. But we haven't touched the most sensitive category yet. There is a specific aisle in the Dollar Tree that contains items that are more valuable than food or water in a long-term crisis. I'm talking about human dignity and hygiene. We are going to cover the final 4 items that will vanish, including the one item that, if you run out of it, will cause a household to descend into chaos faster than a lack of food ever could. I'm also going to reveal the ghost item that most people don't even know Dollar Tree stocks, which can literally save your life during an infectious outbreak. We have arrived at the most uncomfortable section of the store. Most people speed through these aisles because, frankly, nobody wants to think about a world where the toilets don't flush or you haven't showered in 2 weeks. But as someone who has studied the fallout of every major disaster in the last decade, I can tell you this: a lack of food makes people hungry, but a lack of sanitation makes people desperate. When hygiene breaks down, disease moves in faster than any storm. And once your household loses its sense of dignity, that's when the real panic starts. The remaining 4 items on our list are the ones that vanish the absolute fastest, because they aren't just preps. They are daily essentials that people realize they are low on the second they see a store closed sign. In a survival situation, water is for drinking and cooking. Period. Using your limited, purified water to wash your face or your body is a tactical error you only make once. Dollar Tree carries packs of baby wipes and flushable moist wipes. Why are these vital? Because skin infections and swamp foot are the silent killers of mobility. If you can't walk because of a preventable rash or infection, you can't forage, you can't fix your home, and you can't defend your family. When the grid goes down, the personal care aisle is picked clean within the first hour. People realize that a spatula bath with a moist wipe is the only thing that's going to keep them feeling human. I keep 10 packs of these stashed away. It's the difference between feeling like a victim and feeling like a survivor. I'm going to be direct with you. If you're a man and you think the feminine hygiene aisle doesn't apply to you, you are dangerously misinformed. Aside from the obvious necessity for the women in your life, which is a massive morale and health priority, maxi pads and tampons have been a staple in tactical first aid kits for decades. They are sterile, highly absorbent, and designed to manage blood flow. In an emergency where you don't have access to a trauma center, a heavy-duty pad and some of that Dollar Tree duct tape we talked about can serve as a makeshift pressure dressing for a significant wound. The moment a supply chain hiccup happens, these are gone. They are high bulk, high demand, and low priority for restock trucks compared to food. If you aren't seeing a 6-month supply in your closet, you're leaving a massive hole in your preparedness. This is the one item that determines whether your home remains a sanctuary or becomes a biohazard. If the water lines are cut or the sewer system backs up, you cannot use your toilet. I'll say it again. Do not use the toilet. If you do, you are inviting cholera and dysentery into your living room. The Dollar Tree sells rolls of 13-gallon and 30-gallon trash bags. In a grid-down scenario, these are used to line a 5-gallon bucket to create a dry toilet. Sounds gross because it is, but it's the only way to safely manage human waste when the infrastructure fails. Beyond that, a trash bag is a multi-tool. It's a waterproof poncho. It's a window patch. It's a way to keep your sleeping bag dry. When the run on stores happens, people grab these to bag up their belongings. If you're at the back of the line, you're left with nothing but grocery bags and a very big problem. Finally, we have the ghost item. It's often tucked away on the bottom shelf of the medical or cleaning aisle, and most people walk right past it. During an infectious outbreak or a situation where local water is contaminated, isopropyl alcohol is your frontline defense. It is the base for DIY hand sanitizer, it's a fuel for small alcohol stoves, and it's the only way to truly sanitize a surface without using your precious bleach supply. It's called a ghost item because Dollar Tree doesn't always have a massive stock of it, and the professional-grade preppers usually clear the shelf the second it's restocked. If you see it, buy it. All of it. Once the news starts talking about outbreaks, you won't see a bottle of this for 6 months. It becomes more valuable than gasoline. Look, the goal isn't to be the person with the most stuff. The goal is to be the person who isn't standing in a mile-long line at 2:00 a.m. because they realize they forgot the basics. Dollar Tree gives you the chance to be that person for less than the cost of a single night out at a restaurant. But the window is closing. Supply chains are tighter than they've ever been, and the just-in-time system is one bad storm away from a total freeze. You have the list. You know the items that disappear first. Now, the only question is, are you going to be the one watching the shelves go empty, or the one who already has the kit in the trunk? I've done the research and laid out the map. The rest is up to you. Don't wait for the all-clear signal, because in a real crisis, that signal never comes.